So he comes back and says, all right, the gummybear.com I've actually mapped to a host, and that host has this IP address. And the authoritative servers for the gummybear.com is ns1.gummybear.com, ns2.gummybear.com. Okay, before I do that, let me just clarify maybe something. So there's two types of DNS servers that we've talked about so far. We've talked about lookup servers, and we've talked about authoritative name servers. So lookup name servers. Okay, so what does a lookup name server do? Yeah, it asks questions, right? So it does, and it does that recursion as described on this slide. That's what a lookup name server does. An authoritative name server, what does it do? Yeah, so it answers. So this guy asks, and this guy answers. Okay. So on our particular setup, here's your network that you guys set up, and inside of this you maybe have a machine designated as mail, maybe you set up web, and you've set up NS1, NS2. For system install assignment, we haven't put anything on them, we just created these machines. Now for each one of these, you had to configure a lookup name server, right? So we had to tell this guy, go over to 144.38.192.2 or .3 when you do your lookups. And then this guy will go do that whole recursive process for us. So right now, these guys, in this particular case, are functioning as lookup name servers for your clients. Fair enough? These same collection of servers, as we just saw a second ago, right up here, these same collection of servers are also functioning as authoritative name servers. So they're functioning as lookup servers, but if someone asks them for information about the cs.dixie.edu domain, they can also provide authoritative answers for that. So these set of servers are kind of doing two functions in one. That's how we're going to set up ours. I guess we don't necessarily need to. I've always done that in this class, is I've configured them, our name servers, with both of these functions, but they are distinct functions. Lookup servers ask for lookups, and these guys answer based on the domain that they're authoritative for. So just keep that in mind for a second, for the semester. Okay, one other security thing that I probably should mention. When we first started teaching this class, what port are we running on DNS? 53 is the DNS query, so remember that, 53. But when we first started teaching this class, we thought it would be nice to allow students to be able to do these, to have port 53 open off campus. And it's actually still open. So port 53 is open from off campus. So anyone in the world can do DNS lookups to your machine and get a resolution, resolve their entries. Okay, so one of the problems with that is, what if, like here, I'm configuring my client, your clients are configured to go here. Why do I not want everyone in the world to be able to do lookups through my servers?
You could clog it up.
Yeah, you can clog it up.
There's potential for error.
Potential for error. And it's also known as, you've heard of DOS attack, denial of service attack. So if I inappropriately configure my server and allow anyone to do lookups through my server, then we could have like here's a bad guy, he launches a DNS query to my server, and it goes out and it does the recursive stuff. And then I have a victim over here. I spoof this victim's address so that when this guy finally responds, when he responds, he's actually responding back to this guy. Okay, my query is actually pretty small. Let's say this is 10 bytes. It's not. It's more than that. But the response here might be 1,000 bytes. So I can very quickly, if I can launch a bunch of DNS queries here and have it respond back to this guy, I can DOS him. I can take him down. Yep. And so with a very minimal payload here, I can overwhelm him eventually. So that's one thing we're going to be concerned about. And if you follow my instructions to make sure that we do not have, they're called open resolvers. We don't want to have any open resolvers on our network. We're going to lock it down so only, eventually, when you set up your name servers, only your clients are going to be able to do lookups through your name servers. That's the other security concerns. Okay. Okay. I remember. There's one other thing right here that I ignored. The search domain. I think when you guys also set up your machine, it maybe asked you that. Does that remember?
Yeah. cs.dixie.edu.
Okay. Let's see here. I just want to look at a good example. Probably. Oh, maybe that copier machine that we were on. Okay, let's try that. I haven't copied all my SSH keys around yet. Yeah, let's see now. And so this is where our network settings are stored now in Bionic. But you can see our IP address, great. And we have the name server that I should be going through. For our setup this semester, we don't have 2 name servers. We just have one for, anyway, it's kind of annoying. But this line, search, what does that mean? So this is utilized with DNS.
So are those the authoritative name servers so that you won't have the normal DNS server go to search or to ask?
So no, this is the normal DNS server we're going to go ask. But search, all this means is, if you don't put in a fully qualified domain name, we're going to append this to the end of each one of your queries. So that's why I can do ping SSH. I didn't have to put in ssh.cs.dixie.edu because DNS, the first thing it will try is it will see if it can ping ssh.auth.cs.dixie.edu. It can't, and it got it really quick. But then it appends cs.dixie.edu to SSH, and it got a result there and it pinged it. If it didn't, it would then go to sgc.local. So by the same thing, if I do ping PHP, it does the same thing. Oh, well, first I tried to append php.auth.cs.dixie.edu, didn't find it, so then I'll append the next one, do a DNS query, and find the next one. So the search line can save you a little bit of time if you don't want to type out the fully qualified domain name. It will always append these postfixes to your query in the order specified. Okay. So there's that. Awesome. Okay. We are going to set up our name servers in a redundant fashion, and that's typically how they're done, like we've done over here. One of them will be configured as the master, and the other one will be configured as the slave. So, and I'll show you in our configuration settings when we actually set it up how it works. But the master is where we will make all of our, I won't say all of our configuration changes, but most of our configuration changes will be done on the master. Anytime we add a new record, that we want DNS to be aware of, it will be added on the master inside of etc bind / etc bind directory somewhere. We will maintain all of our zone files. Periodically,